Thank you, Pyra. Later on, we'll get to hear more from that series from Optimus, but for now, we are going to take a look back at that game, starting off by looking at some of the team compositions that we saw put together in this one. And the first standout, Vedius, you're a resident mid laner. You're the man who knows the matchups. Talk to me about this, Lissandra.
So I was a little skeptical at first. I was like, Lissandra. But then when you actually look a little bit more into the matchup, usually during the laning phase, what you'll often see is every time LeBlanc goes in, you're always going to get punished by the Lissandra because that delay on the W will give you enough time for the Lissandra to root, hit you with a Q, auto, that's going to proc a Thunderlords. So it's fairly even trading, but Lissandra will always have a slight push advantage during the mid lane. It's when level 6 comes around, that's where things really start going in the favor of the Lissandra because every time LeBlanc tries to do anything, she gets put in a tomb. And then the rest of the team lock her down, and then you end up just having a useless assassin.
Stays in the tomb.
Yeah, she stays in there, exactly. So I think the pick was smart overall. And I think that it was picked into a good composition as well. I think that it's important that you have high damage coming from both your jungle and AD carry roles because she as a mid laner doesn't have a huge amount of damage herself after the countless number of nerfs that she's had since she was really popular in competitive play. So the Greys in particular worked very nicely because you'd get locked down in the mids and then Greys would just come and clean up.
And I just love the attitude there. It's like, hey, we're a team that loves to fight. We want to go aggressive. Why would we pick something that needs time to scale? Let's pick a champion that can facilitate that. And I think that's the other time that I wouldn't want to see Lissandra picked is if you're a team that wants to sit back, right? She's exceptionally good at starting fights or at least getting single targets, multiple targets in a fight, just going over a wall and saying, hey, fight's on. Oh, you're already dead now.
And of course, one of our big concerns when we talk about Levi on this Graves was also, hey, you don't have the CC, you can't make the plays yourself. Well, Lissandra, she can set the plays up for Levi. Levi can back up with the damage, so kind of shifting roles there. But despite all of this interesting stuff happening in the mid lane, the bot lane continues to be a hugely contentious subject for both of these teams. We take a chance to look at some of these first blood kills coming out because it's like they have a blood pact. Like someone's got to die in bot lane every time we go into game. This time, 1-for-1 trade, and it just goes south here as we look ahead a few moments later, and you see the Zyra dying too.
It's the Varus Lulu, man. It's a powerful bottom lane that you need to show a lot of respect for. But I think that game 4, both these bottom lanes, they've gotten used to each other now, and they just want to look to trade. And it's understandable, especially like early levels, that you want to try and force fights as an Ashe Zyra, but they just weren't coordinating properly. You could just focus down the Zyra, she gets chunked out, and then the Ashe is like, oh, you want to fight? Oh, no, I don't have a support anymore. So it was a little bit of poor communication with which you saw that the Gigabyte Marines were quick to take advantage of.
And for me, I think the big surprising factor is normally when we see bot lanes, get used to each other, get used to a matchup, normally they stop killing each other, right? They stop going, and they're like, okay, we've learned our limits, it's time to stop fighting. And both of these sides seem to be like, no, it's cool now, we understand the matchup. Or they think they understand the matchup, like, we're definitely going to win it at level 3 this time, we swear. And it just kept being this source of early leads, whether it was for one side or the other, mostly in the favor of the Gigabyte Marines over the course of this series.
And it didn't stop there, because we had 4 teleports on the map at that point, and there was so much fighting in the bot lane that everyone's like, oh, well, where should we fight next? So bring the Lissandra in bottom lane. And it had already kind of started badly for SuperMassive. And then that series of back-to-back bot lane fights where Optimus just, I think
it was the second fight. We're going to take a chance to look at the second fight. There's a first fight. It goes in favor of the Gigabyte Marines. And then SuperMassive want to take a second fight, and this is really where it goes
Beautiful
south.
Punish with the ice at first to block the distortion. And then it's just all about Optimus knowing how to play the fight.
Yeah, I think that you're realizing why cooldown reduction is an extremely valuable tool on Lissandra as well, because the more often she gets the rotations out, the more often she can lock you up and CC you down. And the way in which the Gigabyte Marines played the skirmish just exemplifies their style to a T, right? The fact that they are always looking for these 2v2s, these 3v3s. Lissandra is not only a champion that helps facilitate that, but this is a team that just knows how to communicate and knows how to play around these kind of situations. And so when you are faced in what looks like a dire situation with which you should lose all 3 of your members, somehow the Gigabyte Marines
And we've seen them play on that Razor's Edge before. We saw it last game with the Baron, with the Risk, while Echo is pushing an inhibitor, they take a Baron. They do it again here in this bot lane fight where if anybody messes up a cooldown, it feels like everyone just dies on the side of the Gigabyte Marines, but they managed to pull it out yet again.
The coordination and teamwork that I'm seeing from this team is very enjoyable to watch. I'm a little bit concerned, given that they will be moving on to MSI, their ability to play the map. And I think that their style is very similar to that of the Flash Wolves. And I think that they are a team that just knows how to better play it, but they also have more plays in their book. So I think that it'll be interesting to see what they can learn. But I'm also really excited to see the rematch of them versus TSM, because in a best-of-1 scenario, I think that some upsets could occur.
TSM does, of course, have the chance to adapt. But as we focus back in on this game, I want to take a chance to look at the mid-game. So many kills going down for both sides. An absolutely bloody mid-game, but definitely one that favored the Gigabyte Marines. And just hard to pick a single replay here when there is so much action.
And again, so much of this, you get like 40% cooldown on Lissandra. Surprise Ultimate is available again. And SuperMassive, they're already so far behind for a lot of these kills that they're trying to just roll the dice, throw everything they can at getting one member. And unfortunately, the Gigabyte Marines are just grouped together as 5, have so much crowd control and damage to come from the rest of this composition that kick maybe ends a fight if this game is even. You get, the damage down into the backline, he gets picked off, but this far behind, no real hope in rolling things back in their favor.
And also, this team is really good at teamfight, right? Like, they're just good, without a shadow of a doubt. It comes back to their coordination and communication that we've been talking about, but if you track the target focus that they have in these really big, messy fights, they're actually all on the same page. When they suddenly go, okay, we're hitting Maokai now, they will literally all turn onto Maokai, and they will either be giving the shield onto your front line, or they will be CCing at the right time. Like, this team has the coordination, and that's, I think, their biggest strength going into the main event.
I'm curious now, we talked a lot about the Lissandra, solid answer in this case to LeBlanc, good trading patterns that you mentioned earlier. Is this something we're going to see more as an answer to the pick? I know LeBlanc is kind of a hotly contested champion. People are frequently looking for these answers to shut her down. Is Lissandra something that we can expect to see more of?
I think it will depend on the individual. And I think it will depend on certain teams' play styles, because she's not the sort of champion that I think you can just blind pick into any mid laner right now. I think that she is very specific into assassins in particular. But you also need that additional damage that we were talking about from the compositions as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think there is the risk if the game goes late, people start picking up damage. I mean, we saw Dumbledoge nearly having as much damage as the Lissandra, and the Lissandra was the one that was carrying. So, I mean, if that game hadn't ended swiftly, goes to 40 minutes, maybe you start not having quite so much impact with fewer and further between fights.
So definitely some potential weaknesses from that pick. Well, however, to hear more about Gigabyte Marines' victory, let's send it over to Shox, who has an interview with their mid laner.
Thank you very much, guys. We are joined here by Optimus, or Optimus, from the Gigabyte Marines after qualifying for the main event in Rio. So the first thing I have to ask, also seeing how you're wearing the flag, is how does it feel to be able to represent Vietnam and just as a team qualify for the main event?
Em có cảm giác như thế nào khi mà em đại diện đội Việt Nam lần đầu tiên vào được MSI?
Đầu tiên là cảm xúc cá nhân của em thì rất là vui, nhưng mà sau đó thì cả đội của tụi em đã đại diện được Việt Nam và bước được vào tới vòng MSI, thì em nghĩ rằng là có lẽ cảm giác đó nó một chút nào đó hưng phấn, bởi vì đây là lần đầu tiên mà chúng em bước vào một giải đấu mà nó là lớn nhất ở trong một giữa mùa giải, và vì vậy tụi em sẽ cảm thấy là nói chung là có một chút vui, nhưng mà bọn em vẫn chưa cảm thấy rằng là mình đã thể hiện đủ trong những trận đấu vừa qua.
Yeah, so personally, he feels really happy, but as a team, to represent Vietnam is like an honor, right? It's like it's the biggest tournament we've ever been to, so it means a lot to me. And then even then, we need to try even harder to prepare for the event.
Well, it seems to me also today that you guys obviously played very much to win, but after game one, you played more careful than normally. Is that maybe the series versus TSM that crept back in your heads, or what was the approach for the series today to make sure that you could definitely win it?
Thì cái trận đầu tiên của mình á, là mình đánh rất là mạnh, rất là sung. Nhưng mà trận thứ hai mình cảm giác như mình chậm lại, thứ ba chậm lại, thì có phải là tại vì mình học được những bài học từ TSM hay không?
Nếu mà nhìn kỹ hơn thì chúng ta có thể thấy rằng là cái trận 2 cả đội quýnh nó còn nhanh hơn và náo nhiệt hơn nữa, nhưng mà cái đội đã phải mắc một sai lầm rất là lớn, bởi vì đã lấn quá sâu và cũng như là đánh quá mạnh và điểm yếu nó lộ ra, thì sau đó cả đội đã rất là chú trọng lại, nên nên trận 3 chúng ta phải cẩn thận rất nhiều, không thể nào mà ẩu được, bởi vì chúng ta đã bị lộ điểm yếu và đối phương có thể dễ dàng bắt bài chúng ta, nên đã thay đổi là đánh sẽ cẩn thận hơn một chút.
Yeah, so actually in game 2 we fought even more aggressive than game 1, but because of that we exposed our weaknesses, and once that exposed, we have to like regroup and like calm down throughout the next 3 or 4 games.
You guys did really well, and if you take a look back at the tournament as a whole, you did fantastic against every opponent, and that means that a lot of people are having some expectations that you guys could really be an underdog to watch. So what are your own expectations, and what are the own goals of the Gigabyte Marines at the main event in Rio?
Thì khi mình đến cái giải này là mình coi như là đánh bại tất cả các đội hiện tại giờ luôn. Thì cái mong đợi của em khi nào em vào MSI chính như thế nào?
Nên lại là
cái mong đợi của em khi mà em vào MSI chính như thế nào?
Đến với MSI lần này thì em nghĩ rằng là cái đội khác họ sẽ rất là mạnh mẽ và mục đích của tụi em là sẽ giành chiến thắng được một hoặc vài trận, nhưng mà em nghĩ rằng là cả đội sẽ tập trung vào việc học hỏi tất cả những gì mà những đội khác tập luyện và họ thể hiện cho với những trận đấu chính thức với mình.
Yeah, so all the team in MSI this year is very strong. We are hoping to get at least 1 or 2 games or a few more if possible, but then we will focus on, you know, learning the best out of the best.
I'm very much looking forward to seeing you guys playing in Rio. Congratulations again, Optimus. Fantastic run from the Gigabyte Marines so far. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Shocks. I agree. Just fantastic performances coming in from the Gigabyte Marines throughout the entirety of this tournament. And we were surprised at first when they came through in Group B. We were surprised when they took TSM to 5 games. And now I think finally we can say no surprise, at least for Vedius, that they managed to take this one.
You win some, you lose some.
But I am so excited to see Optimus stack up against these world-renowned mid laners that will be coming to the competition. Faker, Bjergsen, Maple, Shie, Perks, like so many talented individuals that Optimus gets to test this stuff against, and I think it's going to be really fun to see what he can learn.
Sadly, you got to stop at the first name you said on the list and say Faker, and then everybody else is maybe a small step at least.
Probably should have ended on Faker.
Yeah, I'm like, I want to see Faker.
The best mid laner in the world and some other guys. Admittedly, they're all, of course, very talented.
Yeah.
But
You are right. Those matchups are going to be explosive, though. I think there are some real standouts there. And then, hell, maybe if somebody can take Faker to the limit.
Well, the big thing for me is the fact that even if he isn't able to, he's going to learn a lot, right? The fact that he's able to represent his region at such a big event, the fact that they've grown so much as a team, it's just been really exciting to watch. And we know that the region itself had a great performance at All-Stars, or the Wildcard All-Stars last year, and now they get to represent the region once more. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how well their style stacks up to that of the other region.
Yeah, well, speaking of things that are exciting to watch, you guys at home have been calling out your favorite highlights from the week using hashtag MSI2017, and now we'd like to recap some of the big plays you called out, brought to you by our friends from Acer. First, we have at RTS Geonautic calling out TSM's heroic Dragon Steal against the Gigabyte Marines. The hero play from Tenskaren and Hanser probably just won that game straight up, and it definitely helped out. Let's check it out.
This is the fight. That's what happens when you have teams playing it so safely, though, not wanting to do anything for a while. The next fight that does break out always ends up going completely crazy. As TSM goes away, Tenskaren flashes. Oh my god! Oh man, he actually goes in for the fight and he gets everything done. Hanser now coming in from behind on top of Levi. Cuts him down, make it even more. Sings Sayonara as Optimus cannot do anything. A double kill for Bjerg and 4 dead bodies on the side of the Gigabyte Marine.
No, this is fight first. This is the fight first. I'm TPing. I'm TPing mine. I'm TPing mine. TPing mine. I'm going around. I'm going around. I can't flash in like that. Nice. Cut down. Go. Yeah, I'm fighting from try. 5 seconds. Good fight. It's a good fight.
I got grapes.
I'm a fist. I'm a fist. Okay. Go back. Let's go. Nice.
All right, the thing I love most about that is we heard Bjergsen say it in the interview, and now we got to hear it on the comms as well, is literally all Tenskaren says to start that series. It's like, I'm Steel. We're going. It's just like, I'm going to TP. Yeah, I'm going to take it. It's going to be mine.
I don't know when the last time you saw a jungler blind flash in to steal a dragon. That is incredible. Just the fact that he even gets that at that point, and then realize he's got to stand around waiting for the TP to complete. I want to see a little picture of Captain Flowers in that, because he was going off.
Yeah, like in the cast, me and Flowers looked at each other like, what? What is he doing? And then we saw the TP as well. It was like, oh, they're doing a thing. Like, and it was a great play.
I love your Captain Flowers impression.
Yeah. Great. It was fun.
Yeah, solid play. Probably won them the series, I think it's safe to say, or at least was the turning point in that game. However, not the only play to happen this weekend. At 1, B7 highlighted Karsa's mechanics on the Blind Monk. Jesus, the Karsa's Lee Sin 3-man kick. It's smooth, it's fresh, it's clean, whatever you want to call it. Let's take a look at it.
Although will slow up Betty, uses the heal nice and early. Smokescreen gets flashed away. Stamage still chasing them down, puts so much damage to the sword out despite the exhaust coming down. He's a man possessed, has to flash away.
Oh, triple kick!
Big side note into 3 people. That's going to continue hunting them down. SuperMassive get the first kill in this skirmish, but Flash Wolves respond with 3 kills for themselves.
Storm Age drops low, Flash comes out in respect. Beautiful kick out of Karsa, but ignited. Everybody from SuperMassive just turns their focus down on Karsa.
It's a sweet moment. Because you die there, and yes, that sucks. But I just imagine, I don't know if players are actually allowed to stand up out of their chairs and like wait for comeback.
Yeah,
but the play continues, and you're just like, please, please, where are the like, because he earned it. And like that play right there, I think, was the moment where like, oh, we're now reminded how good Karsa is as a player.
It's that hilarious moment where we were on the analyst desk and we were looking like, oh, of course, because he would pick the Godfist Lee Sin skin, and then you see
little arrogant, aren't we?
And then he gets the kick, and you're like, okay, you can wear that skin, that's fine.
I think my favorite thing is there was a couple of things, like that time the Sonic Wave didn't hit because it gets flashed out of it. That happened a couple of times, and Karsa's like, I don't care. Most people would just be like, I'm not going in. Karsa's like, I have flash. That means I'm going aggressive.
I can kick you.
Yeah, he outplays people with like missing the first skill than a lot of Lee Sins you see in competitive play do with everything.
I mean, he just goes in. You know, like, you have to respect that, right? Because there's a lot of players, we saw it even earlier today, where teams were going in without their cooldowns. Karsa, like, he can go in without cooldowns. He has earned that right. It looks good when he does it. Of course, interesting, though, how the tournament has unfolded. We did start with 10 teams starting out in Sao Paulo to fight for the 3 remaining spots in the MSI groups. And after a hard-fought 2 weeks, Flash Wolves, TSM, and now Gigabyte Marines have booked their trip to Rio de Janeiro. And the group stage will be starting May 10th with the EU LCS going against the reigning world champion SKT. Personally, I think that match was really excited. We have the EU representatives here, but also after today, we have to be especially excited for Game 3. Gigabyte Marines, TSM, the rematch. NA has to be a little bit uncomfortable with that one, I imagine.
Ooh, this is gonna be a good event. I'm really looking excited. This is gonna be so much fun. I can't wait. I want to see G2 reclaim their fame. You know, there was a lot of expectations in the last split, and then they weren't able to quite live up to that. And I know that they've been in Rio for a while already, preparing for the event, so I think that they're taking it extremely seriously. I know it's definitely not going to be in their favorites to be able to beat over SKT.
I love this. Every time with the EU people, with the G2 apologists, like, we swear, guys, this time it will be different.
But I mean, there's the saying, it's the only way from here is up, right? You face SKT first, which it's kind of almost a win-win. You either do great against SKT, which is, albeit not many people have done that in history, or you're like, okay, SKT, toughest opponents out of the way. What do we learn from that? We know G2 are scrimming there now already, have been out in Brazil for a while. So I think having SKT first is probably a nice little challenge to overcome.
I don't care, it'll be fun. I just want to see good League of Legends, right? If G2 lose, that's fine. As long as they lose playing their very best, that's what I want.
All right, well, one final question, guys, before we close it out for the day. Not going to get to see you guys at the main event. I want to know, who's your dark horse coming into this tournament? Obviously, SKT is up there. I'm going to say, actually, don't say G2, because you're not allowed to say G2.
Well, I think we're both going to say the same team. Do you want to say it first, or do you want?
Team WE. I mean, I wasn't actually... No, and also, it's difficult to estimate, right? Because I think that among the analysts, the current pecking order is that SKT are at the top. Flash Wolves are actually considered the second best team, and then it's kind of a fight between WE, G2, and TSM, and then with Gigabyte Marines underneath. But I think that with the recent Gigabyte Marines performance, especially against TSM, there are a few question marks as to whether or not TSM will be able to perform. How good will G2 and WE do? Because, like, internationally, China have often flopped, and then G2 have not had the best. So I think there are like a lot of questions.
Vedius, I agree there are a lot of question marks, which is why I asked you for your dark horse.
G2 are going to destroy everyone!
Okay, fine. G2 from Vedius, Stress.
I should have just gone with my option. The only reason you can even call them dark horses is because they had to play in to get there. Flash Wolves looked exceptionally strong. They looked great at IEM. I think they'll likely do a similar thing against G2 when they play him again. I think Flash Wolves are looking very dominant, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them matching up against SKT, but I still think SKT are the favorites.
Now we'll see how that group stage unfolds, but that's going to do it for us from here. So on behalf of myself, the casters, the entire live broadcast crew, thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in the group stage.